try. As much as it's the 22 out there who win the game, that's a wonderful story of perseverance and turnaround for the Red Whites.
Yeah, and look, I'm fortunate enough. I'm relatively close to it through working at the Steve Michael Foundation, and you can see, how they operate. And I've had cause to ring Charlie Burke, being a footy director at East Fremantle, and it was, he was more than helpful. And the great thing about those people, as competitive as they are, they're in the game for the betterment of the game and not their own selfish needs. And it's a great credit to them, the way the club operates, and their board, the people they've got on their board are influential and have special skill sets to get the club to where they've got to today. So it's a great credit to them. And then on the other hand, the same has to be said about East Perth with Ronnie Howson, who's been there for a million years and really held the club up in its toughest times. And to see James Sands-Leone jump on board and was really impressive in talking to us on Friday morning, and Warren Parker, who does a great job, and Ross McQueen, who's got an outstanding record. When you look at the amount of Colts premierships he's coached, then went to reserves, did the same thing. And I'll tell a story at the risk of talking about myself. Is that I remember in '97 when we had the heartbreak loss to South Fremantle by a goal, and we had a number of players in our team that particular year were Eastern State players, and the word was through the course of the year that at the end of the year they were all going to go back home. And when we lost that heartbreaking game that particular day, I remember after the game they came up to me and said, "I'm staying. We've got to right the ship. We've got to rectify what happened today." And I just get a feel. What I loved about East Perth's huddle after the game is that normally you see them standing around dormant, laying on the ground, heads down. They were all up and about. They were at each other, and I reckon the biggest test now for Ross McQueen and Warren Parker is to hold that player group together and bring them back next year, because this will be a major motivating factor in them having success next year.
Matty, I feel like they've got enough left in the tank to go again. They're not going to lose too many, if any, to retirement. I can't see too many in that age bracket that might finish up. And they didn't have Cooper Stevens at all this year, who was their boom recruit. He did a knee in February. So assume he signed a 2-year deal. Warren Parker assures me he'll be here next year and he'll play. So you add him to the midfield group, they probably need an forward.
I'll tell you before you jump in, Matty, what you may have heard it. What was really interesting is Brayshaw made his speech and said, "I'll see you next year."
Yeah.
And I reckon that's a good sign. He's the one that needs to rally around this group and get them up and ensure that they're all available to play again next year.
I think both teams will be competing next year, and you're right, for South Fremantle we might see the end of guys like Hayden Schleuf or Zach Strom, but outside of that, well, yeah, I don't know, maybe the future surrounding Brandon Donaldson, Jake Florenka might be questionable, but yeah, I mean, look at what they've added this year, South Fremantle, and they've done a great job as a club to make it a real destination club for ex-AFL players. So they get the returning Hamish Free after being on an AFL list with North Melbourne. They get Trey Ruffsco, who was at Collingwood West Coast. He started at East Fremantle. He's come to South Fremantle this year. Ethan Hughes, who was a Swan Districts recruit originally, he comes to South Fremantle this year. Jermaine Jones, okay. Originally from New South Wales, of course, got picked up to Geelong and played for West Coast. He decided to come to South Fremantle this year with some of his ties. So look at that AFL pedigree that they have added this year, the Bulldogs. That's a brilliant recruiting job.
And that's why Charlie Burke deserves a lot of credit, because he's the man responsible. And I think an unsung hero as part of all of this is Anthony Vanderwielen, who has great contacts. He's a player manager at AFL level, and he's Tim Kelly's manager. Jermaine Jones is very close with Tim Kelly. Tim's still clearly at West Coast, but Jermaine Jones stays in Perth, plays in the Waffle, and goes inevitably to South Fremantle. I'm just running through the list of South Fremantle players. So Schleuf, 32. Look, he loves the game, and he could easily go on, but that feels like the right way to finish. And even the way that Hamish spoke, I think there's a feel within the football circles that might be it for him. I think Zach Strom will definitely finish up. So there's two players, very important players. Florenka, 28. Ethan Hughes will be 31 in December. Young family. Apart from that, I mean, Brandon Donaldson, 28. We heard from Andrew Foster on Friday, Tony, that Tom Lechtinen had to be talked out of retirement this year. He's only 25. Finished, what, in the top 5 in the Sandover, so I can't see him finishing up. Noah Strom's 29. Matty Parker's 29. And the rest of these guys are sort of mid to late 20s, so I'm not sure they're going to lose too much, but you'd think that Schleif and Zach Strom are certainly two that will probably hang up the boots, and what a way to finish.
Excuse me. And the group that we shouldn't forget as well, and we had one of them in on Friday in Andrew Foster. Look, they've got an outstanding coaching group besides Craig White.
Yeah.
You know, you look at Brian Cook, who was an absolute star waffle, and I've never seen a bloke keep himself in better nick than what he does. So he would be an inspiration amongst the players. Andrew Foster, Corey Delolio, who I worked with when I was at the Commission, he's really got some potential. And then, of course, you've got Chris Main as well.
Hey, let's just briefly pause. We'll try and take this audio. It's coming to us courtesy of the big screen. But South Fremantle has the whole club, all supporters, all players. It's a mighty circle in the clubhouse here at Optus Stadium. Have a listen to this. The Bulldogs sing the Premiership song. Season, just one loss, 20 matches, 19 wins, one loss. It's their most dominant premiership in terms of games won and games lost across their history. Their 15th premiership and one of the most hard fought, a 2-point win over East Perth.
It's a united football club, Jacob, and that's what it takes to win premierships.
Absolutely.
Jacob, a bit of numbers here for you.
Yes.
15th premiership, 15th win in a row for South Fremantle.
Yes, yeah, nice numerology there. 15 wins in a row for the season. And when we look back in history, South Fremantle complete almost a perfect season. Their only loss was to the Wooden Spurs West Coast in round 5. Yeah. So they could have actually gone through the season undefeated. By rights, they should have. They had an off day against West Coast, and Craig White must have come in and said, well, we're not having any more of that. And they went on a 15-game winning streak. What a wonderful season.
It is amazing when you think they dropped one game and they've dropped it to West Coast.
And if they had a drop today's game, I mean, it's just an amazing season where you can lose only one match. But if they didn't win today, the whole season would have been for nothing. So it just goes to show you fine margins in footy.
And on the other hand, you know, you look at, again, I know I keep sounding like I go back to East Perth, but look, a couple of weeks ago, Matty, 12-7 South Fremantle to East Perth 3-2 in the second semi-final.
Yeah.
So that's why, you know, I just love the football club. I love the spirit and the culture that they live by at East Perth, and they displayed that. They've done themselves no harm at all today on the effort that they gave for their members and supporters and sponsors.
Yeah, they just lacked in some of their execution in East Perth today. Can we talk about the Simpson medal?
Yep.
Hamish Free. Great second half, really, to be able to get loose off of Scott Jones, go forward and kick 2 goals, and they were crucial goals as well. That's really what won him the Simpson medal. I've actually had a few text messages, people messaging me, listening in, and just wondering about the battle, because everyone's looking at Scott Jones' stats and going, well, he pretty much won all of the stats barring the goals. And Scott Jones did go forward and kick a goal himself.
Yeah, looking at the numbers, so Scott Jones, 16 touches, a goal, 35 hit-outs. Free's numbers, 14 disposals, 2 goals, and 19 hit-outs. How would you score the battle? So if you're a judge, how would you score the battle in the end, Tony, between the two? Free got best on ground. Did he actually win the matchup with Scott Jones?
No. Okay, you know a stat we haven't chucked up, and I'll throw it up for you now. I'm finding it. Clearances, 25-34. In the closing stages of that game, when I kept banging on about each set of bounce was vital, is it was Scott Jones that put it down Rayshaw's throat and North's throat. They won their last 3 clearances. They won clearances overall 25-34. So for mine, I think overall, I think Scott Jones had a greater impact for longer periods. Freed chimed in that third quarter where he had that burst, and then again the last quarter when he kicked. The things that Freed did were very, very impactful and what's the word, immediate, whereas Jones was a better performer for longer periods across the game for mine.
I said it early in the game. I said if East Perth are to win today, Scott Jones needs to win the ruck battle
I think he said he needs to win the Simpson, which you were.
Well, yeah, he needs to win it convincingly, and Free only had to halve it, and he did that and more.
Well, just to give you an idea of the people who listen to Sport FM, so we're debating who won the ruck battle. Nathan Blakely and Ollie Easton have both just texted me with their verdict. So Nathan Blakely, Swans ruckman, Ollie Easton, champion Claremont ruckman.
Yep.
Nathan Blakely said, good to see a ruck win the medal, always a big day against Jones, always tough to beat. And Ollie's opinion was, Jones controlled the game, Simpson very interesting, he won the matchup, heard you boys chatting as a ruck myself, very interesting decision. Peter Sumich just texts through saying, disgrace that Free was the winner, Jones should have won the medal.
Is that right?
Yep, I assume he means Scott Jones, not Jermaine, his teammate. It just goes to show you how close, A, the game was, and B, how close that battle was.
You made a very, very good point. Is it, why does 2 points make the difference?
Yep. Joe Bolton won the Simpson in a losing grand final.
You know, we've seen many players in, you know, like the absolute champions, the Riolis, with Judds and so on, win Smith medals in losing games and so on. So, yeah, you know, it would have been interesting. You would love to know, you would absolutely love to know, and we never will, is that if East Perth kicked the winning goal at the end of the game, who wins the Simpson there?
Well, when you voted, you had to have your votes in before the end of the game.
They almost came in 15 minutes before the end of the game.
Yeah, so you could have, and I think the same thing happened with Buckley, didn't it? When he won the Norm Smith, the votes actually would have been changed because Brisbane won the game. Voss would have actually won the Norm Smith all those years
ago. They would have ran around and collected, I'll bet $1 that they would have collected the votes after O'Hare kicked the goal.
Yep.
Because then East Perth, Brayshaw and Van Diemen went on and kicked a couple of goals, which brought it back to almost
17-minute mark of the last quarter when O'Hare kicked that goal. From there, East Perth goals at the 24, 27 and 29-minute mark. Just to show you how frugal South Fremantle defence was, you look at the goals that they kicked. Virgil, brilliant dribbler first quarter. Tedesco kicks one from the half-forward flank near the boundary line. Brayshaw scrubs one from a stoppage. And then last quarter, Jones set shot, nice finish.
Yep.
Schofield set shot, nice finish. Van Diemen plucks one out of his backside from the boundary line. They kicked some unbelievable goals, East Perth. They had to produce something special to get that close.
That Van Diemen goal, the last one. Wow.
You were right behind it. You called it mid-air.
I called it, he's got it, and it's just swung late, but it had that trajectory that you knew that it was going to happen. But I guess maybe there, you know, and I hate doing this in such a great contest between two teams, is that they probably didn't get enough out of the Hills, the Van Diemens, the Bergill. You know, he's a class act, Bergill, but he just doesn't remain in the game for long periods. I thought Sturrock probably was disappointing at the end of the day.
Well, he was lucky to play, really, wasn't he?
Yeah, and you know, I thought Masando was a bit shaky as well. One player there, Saunders, got under our guard.
Yeah.
He's well up in possessions, boys. He was very, very good.
He played on Donaldson. Donaldson had no impact at all. I think he had 3 disposals and probably copped as many hits as he had possessions.
Was there any hidden players from South other than Artemis? I thought he was terrific, and even probably young Jacob Sachs did some good things. Matty?
I thought defensively Ethan Hughes played a really good game for South Fremantle.
That was strong.
Yeah, even Chatty Pearson played good too. I think their key backs really stood up for South Fremantle.
And Corey Watts deserves a bit of credit for his game on Rusco.
Yeah.
I mean, Rusco had the first 2 scores of the game. He didn't score again. He didn't touch the ball in the third quarter. He had a couple of moments in the last term. But if you would have said at the start of the day, Rusco will have 6 possessions and kick 1 goal, you'd probably say East Perth would win. Gee, it's a massive talking point at the end of the game. I'm getting plenty of messages from people saying it was a definite 50-metre penalty. There's probably a few South fans who'd like to counteract and say no, it was instantaneous and the siren sounded.
How would it have gone down if they'd paid it after South Fremantle their cement play?
Yeah, and the Deus had come out onto the ground.
Because they were still going over it, weren't they?
We've seen it, haven't we, in community football, like amateur games, where teams celebrate, there's a late 50 and we all go, oh, that goes viral. Imagine if it had happened in the Waffle Grand Final today. Imagine if Baker did get the 50-metre penalty, kick the ball from 40 metres, he wouldn't have had an angle because the free kick was right in the middle of the ground, and kicked the goal. It would have been up there with Andrew Cracker's goal in 2010 to win the premiership if that had happened.
Yes, that's right. You'd love the TV to show it, wouldn't you? You know, so that you could get a clear-cut opinion on how it actually happened.
Plenty of messages here, people saying definite 50-metre penalty, should have been paid.
What about...
What's your lovely wife think? She was nodding her head there.
My lovely wife has just come in and she's said that the East Perth supporters, she sat in with the hierarchy. They were absolutely irate on the decision.
No, it's the right decision was made.
I have to be the peacemaker here because we got the 4-time Waffle Premiership coach and triple Premiership player at East Perth, Matty Grublich, who played Colton Reserves at the Bulldogs, and I have to try and separate you two. I want to go home and watch it back. What have we got to remember? Okay, letter of the law, maybe it could have been 50. The umpire's got to make a split-second decision. He's paid holding the ball. He's processing right. Was it the right decision holding the ball? Oh, where's the ball gone? Who kicked it? There's a lot to think about in that 10 seconds for an umpire. If we sit here and go, that could have been, should have been 50.
That discussion that took place at the end there, where we're all waiting again for the second celebration, do you feel as though they were getting information fed through their earpieces
Possibly.
on what decision to make?
Yeah, I'd have to give Dean Horsington a call tomorrow or someone from the WA umpires.
That'd be interesting.
It looks like the umpire, I can't remember who it was. Did you catch who it was, Jacob?
No, I'd be guessing. I know Ben Laycock was close, Matt Adams was close. I don't think it was Faye Gilmore. Yeah, no, I'd be guessing. I'd have to look it back. Oh, sorry, the umpire, yeah, it was Trent McPhee. Trent McPhee, the number 8.
But don't you think that's interesting that we don't have a review process in the Waffle Comp? And they took that time to listen to either the advisors or whoever they were listening to.
They might have been saying to reset the field because South's people ran onto the ground. So you had South's interchange players, you had staff.
They brought the stage out.
So they had to get everyone off the ground. So the umpires the people upstairs probably saying clear the field and let him have his kick. It's unlikely, as Matt said, he was never going to kick it from 100 metres out. However, it'll be a talking point tomorrow and East Perth fans will feel aggrieved for 6 months.
Diane's still saying it was 50 metres, Joe.
And every person on my phone who's messaged me has said the same thing.
Diane's heartbroken. I just want to put something out there. We were walking into the ground today down the wonderful pathway as you get in.
Over the bridge?
The main gate.
Oh, yes.
We were very close. I reckon it would have been in the space of 100 metres and she was wearing her East Perth scarf.
Oh.
And you wouldn't read about it. It dropped off in that 100 metres. We ran back to try and find it and it's disappeared.
Well,
and it was her favourite scarf because it was the three-peat scarf.
Well, let's put a call out now.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing it. If anybody found it, we'd love you to hand it back. We can understand you picking it up, looking after it for us. But if you did find it, please send it in to Jacob at FF.
Yes.
And it was you and 23,500 others walking in today. What do we think of the crowd?
Yeah, that's a talking point. There's no excuses, is there? I mean, perfect day for football. 2 traditional clubs. We sat here and we said 30, 35, and we got 23. Was it not advertised well enough? Were the prices too expensive?
Yeah.
What was the reason for it?
I wasn't going to be satisfied unless we got 30. Perfect conditions, as you said, traditional clubs, great supporter bases.
Great day.
Yeah, I reckon you need to delve deeper into it, Jacob, whether it was pricing or whatever it was. You shouldn't be doing it, the commission should be delving in. At the moment, it's always great to see all of these kids out on the oval enjoying themselves. It's great for football and its future.
Well, the announcement came 10 minutes ago. They had 5 minutes to get off the field, and these youngsters are not going anywhere. Not just youngsters, there's some big kids out there as well, enjoying their time on Optus Stadium. Now, this is from the West. Thanks to Rick Goucher who passed this on. the West have written this, and this has been confirmed. The controversial non-50 metre penalty paid to East Perth in their heartbreaking 2 points grand final defeat to South Fremantle has been ticked off by officials. The West Australian understands that both WA football umpiring coach and the AFL representative ticked off the decision on the field. The Royals players were left to appeal with umpires after a South Fremantle player kicked the ball away on the final siren, despite an East Perth player being awarded a free kick. The decision not to play a 50 metre penalty has been approved because there was no time intent to waste time with no more left in the match. It meant that the Royal could take his kick but was not going to be dragged inside forward 50 to be given a chance at glory. There were scenes of pandemonium as everyone was left confused as to what would happen with Bulldogs players celebrating victory. Players, officials and even equipment for the post-game presentations began to make their way onto the ground before it was all halted as the Royal took their kick. There's a few grammar errors in there, to be honest. The sub-editor should probably read that again.
But that makes it pretty clear cut, doesn't it?
Yes.
What it says.
Well, the umpires generally always kick off their decisions. Well, and fair enough too. She's got Royal in her blood. She's married to a 3-time Royals Premiership coach. She sat in with all the East Perth fans.
Sat in with Mel Atwell.
Some great names. Yeah. We're not far away from wrapping up. We could sit here and debate all night, but we'll do it tomorrow.
Yes,
we're up for sports breakfast. No, well, might as well go straight to Hammy Hill now. And Matty's got one last edition of Waffle World tomorrow night.
Greg Harding has also messaged me. He wants, well, usually comes on for about half an hour on Sports Drive. Right. He wants the full 3 hours.
Oh, well, that's good. That means we've filled our programming already.
Yeah, you should get him on too, because always interesting listening.
It is. Yep, Greg Harding, a terrific footy person, and Stiffy, good to hear you listening in, and hope he's in his pre-season if he goes back to do running again.
As we said, well, we waffled on for about an hour after the game, and there's still so many things you could talk about.
Social media is blowing up. I'm not on the Waffle On page anymore, but I'm getting screenshots. Be some discussion. Dave Eckhart says, tongue-in-cheek, shocking footy weather, bring on the torrential rain and the punters will turn up. Yeah, well, you couldn't have had a nicer day for conditions, Matty.
Couldn't have had a nicer day. It was a perfect day for football. Hey, we've spoken about Jordan Baker. Just quickly, I just wanted to shout out his game. We've spoken about what happened after the siren there, but I thought he was close to East Perth's best today. 31 possessions, the run-off half-back, took 12 marks. I think he was really good today.
I can see why he's on an AFL list.
Be careful, they kick him backwards sideways.
No, I thought he was one of the defenders that actually probably kicked it forward a little bit more than...
Only taken the...
Yeah. And you know what? That last tour, he was never going to make the distance 100 metres out, but he did get a good 50 metres onwards. It landed 20-odd, 30 metres out from goal.
Well, so if he had got the 50, it wouldn't be any doubt he would have made the journey.
Yeah.
Imagine the pressure that would have been.
Yeah, and people say, East Perth, we would have won. Well, he still had to kick the ball probably 40 metres at least.
I'm just astounded just in wrapping up. Listen, and I think you've touched on it. 277 possessions to 371, so what's that, about 94
differential,
Then marks, 77 to 116, so that's 23, 36 more marks. I understand, and I think it was a great tactical ploy by Ross, but just unfortunately it just needed to be tinkered with a little more in terms of once they invoked the switch, they needed to go a little more positive earlier than what they did.
One last one from Rick, who's been tireless today. Thanks to Rick from Waffle Footy Facts, and a shout out to his website, wafflefootyfacts.net. Give a little donation if you can, because his work helps us and helps Waffle fans through and through. Wafflefootyfacts.net. Any money is greatly appreciated, but Rick does this out of the kindness of his heart as a Waffle fan. He sends through this. Ethan Hughes becomes the 5th player to win consecutive premierships with 2 different teams. Jared Neesham, 1984, Swans, 1985 East Fremantle. Troy Wilson, you'll remember this one, Tony, 99 West Perth, 2000 East Perth. He managed to lure him across.
Yep.
Shane Yarran, the late Shane Yarran, 2015 with Subi, 2016 with Peel, and Josh DeLuca, 2017 with Peel, and then he went back to Subi the next year. That's quite an illustrious list. And Craig White, premiership player twice, premiership coach.
Yeah.
Wonderful effort. One of the great grand finals. In the end, it was a slow burn. It wasn't a high-scoring grand final, but it was close. East Perth came with a style of play and pushed Souths all the way until the final siren, and even after it, as Jordan Baker launched an audacious torpedo.
I must admit, even the first half, as low scoring as it was, 4-4 to 2-2, I must admit I was injured.
AFL Masters WA radio show on 91.3 Sport FM. Yes, good morning listeners. This is the AFL Masters radio show on 91.3 Sport FM. Grand final edition. I'm Cam McLean from the Warmer Swans, and on today's show we're going to cross up to Darwin for a bit of a track report there to see how things are going for the National Carnival, particularly for our WA side. We're going to have a quick phone call across to Melbourne too, just to give a bit of a preview and an update as to how it's all looking over there. One of the Warmer Swans boys is up there, so across there I should say. So we're going to see what's happening over in Melbourne. As well, one of our lucky listeners will get the chance to win a $50 food and beverage voucher at the Ocean View Tavern for the final time this year. And we've got plenty of footy to talk about, particularly with the preview for the big grand final today. But first, to get us through the next hour, there's just the two of us. We do have a special guest. He's a stalwart of the show, a veteran of the show. He's a Masters WA legend, I believe. Sorry, not legend, life member, or Hall of Fame member, I should say, from the Central Crocs. It's good morning to you, Andrew Nardi Brady.
Cam, thanks very much for that welcome. I appreciate that. Very good.
It's great to have you back. When was the last time you were on the show, mate?
Earlier this year or late last year, I think I got on board. I'm just trying to remember myself, but to keep it on top of things behind the scenes, mate.
Of course you have, and of course you were there when I had my training wheels on, so we go back a long way with this. But it did come about a few weeks back. We had a bit of a chat, and so how about you get on for the grand final show, the grand finale?
Well, that big one. That's it, mate. The grand finale. They all bail out on you and head up to Darwin and other things and all the other good voices that get on here. But now you've got the grand voice on here. Me coming and joining you, and as you say, we brought you along, and you are in charge of everything, mate. You're going beautifully.
Love it, absolutely love it. Now, how's the footy been going for you, mate? How's your season been?
Oh, look, it's still good to, the age is getting on. I'm still happy to be out there getting a run around, getting a few kicks here and there, and
body holding up?
Body's holding up, still just, it's all about body management nowadays.
It is.
Isn't it? Managing it, mate. Don't overdo things in the training, and just get through and make sure you can get out there to have a kick on game day. And just at my age now, just stick to the one game. Don't try and play with the Masters. Don't try and play with the seniors. I realise that I'm well past that sort of thing. And it's good to have fun and get out there and chase a kick.
But you do keep fit. You do a bit of umpiring as well, mate. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, still do the umpiring in the amateurs. One of the club umpires down at Mount Lawley. I do that on the Saturday. Yep. Do one or two games there across the Colts, across the beautiful sides in the C grades, and enjoy that. And then put me in up occasionally when I'm feeling the body's feeling good. Let's do the Sunday as well. Play a game, umpire one or two for the Masters, and give a bit of cheek back to the boys.
Yeah, I'm sure you do, mate. You certainly know how that goes. And today you've got a big afternoon with the Crocs to watch the grand final, haven't you?
Yeah. No, our key full forward in Barman, he gets everyone over his joint that wants to come over to the grand final and get together, and it's on a good show, and got a few big TVs around the joint, and everybody has a good time watching a big game. And unfortunately, he's a big Geelong supporter, so we'll get down there and give him a bit of stick and wind him up a bit. He loves his Geelong. There's a couple of Geelong boys at the club that are big supporters. In fact, our president Dennis, he's headed over to Melbourne to take the action.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, speaking of today, let's have a quick look at the weather, because there'll be a lot going on, a lot of people out and about with their grand final do's and functions. So today's weather is going to be a sunny 22. Perfect conditions for a grand final function.
Absolutely, no, fantastic.
And of course it's a long weekend here in WA, so tomorrow as well we've got 21 degrees after a low of 12 with a shower or two, and Monday 21 after a low of 10. So really nice long weekend. And remember, double demerits as well.
Absolutely, double demerits. And if you just look down that mate, how's the weather going the rest of the week or the next couple of weeks? Because, you know, being a school teacher, it's bloody school holidays.
It is.
Looking good, I hope. So
you'll be loving it. No, I can't give a 2-week forecast, but I'm sure it's going to be sensational for you teachers. And I live with one, so she's pretty excited.
Exactly. So
Good stuff. And now, well, look, thanks to major sponsor Perth Brake, Clutch and Exhaust Specialists, there's been a fair bit of sport going on overnight. So, and probably a few days over the last week. So, Artie, firstly, I'm going to throw over to you on the sport because we'll probably have a bit of a joint but I'm going to kick off with you, mate.
Yeah, very good, Cam. We'll see what I found out, and we can see what you found out, and we'll throw it all together. So, so first of all, overnight, of course, in the NRL, they've got their preliminary finals happening this weekend. So, of course, the Melbourne Storm had a nice win over the Cronulla Sharks, 22 to 14. I watched a bit of that game last night. Yeah, so it was an interesting game, but Melbourne had it in control there, and they're looking really nice, trying to make up for losing last year's grand final.
Well, this is their 11th grand final in 20 years, and Craig Bellamy has just overtaken the great Wayne Bennett as for coaches, appearances for coaches in NRL grand final.
Oh, look, it's a magnificent, isn't it? You know, well, let's go to a grand final once every 2 years on average. That's pretty good, isn't it?
How about tomorrow then? So Brisbane and Penrith.
That's right.
That'll be good. I'm keen to see that.
That'll be a good one. Yeah. The Penrith Panthers are trying to get back into the grand final again.
The 5-peat.
Exactly, the 5-peat, taking on Melbourne like they did last year. They were a bit of a worry early in the year. The old Panthers sitting bottom of the ladder at about 5 or 6. And,
you don't write the Panthers off, do you?
They worked themselves. They're coming from 7th, so they're doing West Bulldogs type. Trying to get into the grand final.
And another thing on that, the winner from Melbourne Storm get a 2-day advantage.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, 2-day rest advantage.
Yep.
So, that's good.
Because that AFL grand final gets in their road.
Dropping away.
But no, it'd be interesting, wouldn't it? If Melbourne Storm are in. Yep. You better be getting the Brisbane Broncos in. You have a Melbourne team playing a Brisbane team, just like our AFL grand final.
Oh, yes. Yeah, there you go. Well, last time Brisbane played the NRL and Brisbane played the AFL, both Brisbane teams lost. That was 2 years ago.
Well, maybe we don't want that to happen, I don't know. Well, I've got some other sport news that I found overnight. The AFLW's on. Did you know that, Cam?
I did.
So AFLW, so they had some games yesterday, last night, that sort of thing. Melbourne just had a casual walk around against the Gold Coast. 87 points it was, 13-15 to 0-6.
6 points, yeah.
So, the big win there for
the high-flying Melbourne team.
Yeah, I think they're sitting about second on the ladder, 6 and 1. Suns are opposite end, 1 and 6, so yeah, 7, I think it is. North Melbourne, they had a game against Essendon, and they took that by 40 points, 10-11 to 6-5 out at Marble Hill. Kangaroos had to come back from a 0 score in the first quarter. They did that, yep. Had to get everyone on board, but they're sitting on top of the ladder. I think they've won about 19 games in a row in last year's premiers. So they're back on really nice. I'll get back for that one. Carlton had a game against the Freo Dockers. Right, scores are up going into the final quarter, 20 apiece, but I thought the Dockers would come out like the Blues, but it didn't happen. And Carlton got over the line 5-2, then it turned to 3-5, 23. So a good ball Carlton, disappointing for the Freo team, I guess. And the Bulldogs had a monster win over Collingwood by 57 points. There we go, 10-5, 65, 2-1-2-8. That was on Friday night, so I know.
Yeah, now also Thursday night the Hawks got over Geelong at Cutting Apart.
Oh, okay.
So, I'm just looking at it.
That was Thursday, so I just went to yesterday's game, so there we go. Yep, there we go, all happening, something to keep the footy interest going for some people, which is fantastic. What else have I found here? The NBL's on, mate. We're into about the second game, third game of the NBL. That's right. So round 2, what have we got here? Melbourne United, 103 defeated South East Melbourne. So the big Melbourne derby there.
Local derby.
83, so that's a 20-point win. And I think Melbourne are 3 in a zip, and the Phoenix are 1-1 after that one. Cairns Taipans, 83, took out a nail biter against the Busselton Bullets, 82.
Another derby there.
Yeah, another derby up there in Queensland derby.
Derby.
So I think they're both 1-1.
Yep,
on the right. And then we've got actually tonight. It is the 27th, I think it's tonight. We've got the Sydney Breakers at the Perth Wildcats over in
local game.
Over in New Zealand. Local team, the Wildcats there getting their season along. The Breakers are sitting on 2 losses, and the Wildcats are sitting on 1 loss from their first game. So hopefully the Wildcats will get on the right side of the ledger there.
Welcome to your weekend. You are listening to Nova. You're on the air with Jason Lawrence. Of grand final day as well, making sure everyone is safe. They're actually setting up a command centre at the MCG. The man running it all, Superintendent Troy Papworth, is joining us. Good morning, Troy.
Good morning.
Morning.
You've got a big weekend ahead.
Yeah, huge one.
So you head up a lot of Melbourne's major events with command centres. What does that mean?
Yeah, look, there's probably not too many events that I haven't run as the police commander, except for probably the Grand Prix and the MotoGP.
Yep.
But so essentially what I would do is I'll sit in the command centre, and we have a varying number of police. For the grand final, we have a lot of police on.
Because you always see them on the horses, and
Yeah.
you see them roaming, and you see the cars stopping traffic.
And when you say command centre, like a giant caravan, pretty much.
No, for the MCG, it's actually in the MCG.
Oh,
we sit
right.
we sit just to the side of the members. We sit in there with MCC security, Ambulance Victoria, Fire,
You're in command centre.
Metro Trains, Yarratrans. We're in there with everyone.
Do you get to watch the game as well, or are you busy?
Just CCTV, Lawrence.
Yeah, there's a little bit going on.
You know, maybe you're going to be watching Snoop Dogg, or are you going to be watching the crowd?
I might be watching the crowd. Just
By and large, Troy, I dare say footy crowds are well behaved, but there's that sort of just that minuscule element that can go a bit rogue from time to time. Am I right?
Yeah, there is. Passions get the better of people, depending on who you barrack for.
Yeah.
And generally the police are there to keep everybody safe, and the police are really excited about being there as well. It's a huge day, and
It's an amazing atmosphere.
yeah, it's an amazing atmosphere. But every now and then somebody will do the wrong thing, and we need to step in. But that's part of being the police.
We saw those scary scenes not that long ago where someone was found with a pistol inside the ground. How do we ensure people going to the game can feel confident that that's not a situation that's going to happen again?
So going to the ground, you'll see a lot of police on the outside of the ground. So we deployed really early outside of the ground, because there's heaps going on in Yarra Park. A lot of people who can't get tickets to get in, they'll go to Yarra Park and they'll have fun with the family. There's lots of attractions and things there. So you'll see us out there really early. You'll see the mounted police there as well, having a really strong presence. Everyone's in uniform, and we stick out because we're wearing our glow-in-the-dark uniforms.
Yeah.
And then you've got the layers of security there with the MCG as well, which is, it's really top-notch security. They're going through the gates and stuff like that. And then on the inside, you've got even more police.
Yeah.
And security as well, working hand in hand.
So the police and security work together if there's a situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's what my role is there in the command centre, is to work with security, work with the venue, and bring together the response so everyone is safe.
Troy, you mentioned the cops like being there. How does it work? Because I imagine everyone will be putting their hand up to work grand final day. Is there a bit of a ballot raffle system? Jerry, yes, you get the boundary line.
For footy games and sporting events, we've got a process called voluntary duties. So you can sign up for voluntary duties and you work on your rest day, essentially. So, and usually if you've done a lot of footy and stuff like that through the year, and you get the big day. Yeah. So everyone wants to do.
So you're like the coach of the team. Do you get to pick the team?
Not quite.
Hey, do you have cells at the MCG?
We did. We used to. Yeah, years ago, and that's where the police rooms are now. So I think it's under M33. Right.
Down at the bowels.
Yeah, down the bowels.
Cricket nets. Do you so what do you do if someone's be it intoxicated, gets into a punch on, found with something they shouldn't have on them? What do you do with them?
So we've got a couple of what we call brawler vans. So they're the larger. They look like a larger divvy van. They're a little VW transporter thing. And so if someone gets arrested, they'll get arrested. They'll get taken back to where we're working at or in the bowels. They'll either get processed for what they're doing, or if it's something that we can't deal with there, they'll get popped in the back of the van.
So what are you saying? In the back of the DMV van?
Remember that? Do people still do that?
Oh yeah. More so the cricket.
Cricket.
Oh yeah.
Day 13.
Hey Troy, do you practice for how you bring down a streaker?
That's the security normally that do that.
Yeah,
right?
we don't do that. You don't like to do. You touch them when they're closed.
Yes. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. and generally security are better at running on the ground. So
Oh, they're not though.
No,
They're
they're
not.
not. They're
They
not.
never put the fastest runners on. I'm sure you watch them. You're like,
Where's Jeremy and his windshield? Like,
who gave you that job, mate? No, they need running races to work out who should work.
we're carrying a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
So
right, okay.
we're going to handicap.
If the situation required, I know you're a Carlton fan.
Oh, you do need to rub that in.
Do you think the offender would get caught holding the ball if you were tackling them?
If I was tackling them,
Yes.
yeah, probably.
Yeah. Well, mate,
He must not break the Carlton.
Good luck. You guys do an amazing job. And how are the Victoria Police holding up? Because I know it's been a very trying few months for you, and you've very much been in our thoughts.
Yeah, look, it's been a tough time, but the support from the public has been overwhelming. So yeah, we're getting there. There's still a lot going on up there in Port Bunker. It's our number one priority. But yeah, we're getting there. We've got Police Remembrance Day coming up on Monday, which will be a really big day. And another day to remember all our fallen comrades.
we are thinking of you, mate, and thanking you for the work you guys do.
And if you are at the MCG, be nice to the police.
Yes.
And, remind them they're doing an amazing job keeping us.
Or you'll be
Going home in the back of a brawler van.
Oh, yeah.
right.
Brawler van.
That's the
Wow,
new
that's
song we
one.
need to learn. Hey, shout out to your wife and daughter as well. I know they're listening at home, but they're fans of the show.
What are their names?
Joe's my wife and Zara my daughter.
Hello, Joe and Zara.
This is Jason Lauren.
Jace and Lauren.
On Nova.
final between Brisbane and Geelong. Around 100,000 supporters expected to pack out the MCG for the first ever decider between the Lions and Cats. Snoop Dogg is the pre-game entertainment before kick-off at 2:30pm Eastern Standard Time. The Reserve Bank Board meets again next week, but most economists don't think there'll be another rate cut. They say new data showing a rise in inflation in certain categories like hospitality and home building means the RBA will hold off for at least another month. Israel's PM has used a speech at the UN in New York to lash out at Anthony Albanese and other world leaders who've recognised the state of Palestine.
When the most savage terrorists on earth are effusively praising your decision, you didn't do something right. You did something wrong, horribly wrong.
Dozens of diplomats staged a walkout. A crackdown on online romance scams has resulted in 260 people being arrested across 14 countries in Africa. And a new study from Japan shows eating ramen 3 or more times a week increases the risk of an early death, especially in younger men.
Terrain Tamer Parabolic Leaf Springs. For a comfortable ride in your four-wheel drive, Terrain Tamer. Parts that will get you home. Find out more at terraintamer.com.au. Triple M Sport.
Brisbane and Geelong face off in a grand final for the first time today in their history. The Cats last won the flag 3 seasons ago, while the Lions are in their 3rd consecutive grand final, hoping to become just the 4th side this century to go back-to-back. Brisbane's Lachie Neale is back from a calf injury to take his place in his 4th GF, while Geelong have recalled veteran ruck Reece Stanley to replace star defender Tom Stewart. And skipper Patrick Dangerfield says they're raring to go.
Yeah, we're ready. We've had a really enjoyable week, well prepared, really good training session on Wednesday, and this is why you play the game.
Freedom's mid-season sale is on now. Save up to 30% off selected sofas, furniture and homewares. Don't miss out. Sale on now, only at Freedom.
Sunny and 22 for Perth today, a couple of showers at 21 tomorrow and partly cloudy 21 Monday. On the home of Triple M Breakfast with Xavier Ellis and Katie Lamb, 92.9 Triple M.
Triple M's Low in Charge, the weekend edition Perth, 92.9 at Triple M.
story you're telling here, but you're doing so through the use of technology, through that kind of streaming, and then the audience themselves aren't actually in the space. You know, the artists are going to be in. What are some of the issues that you have? What are some of the things you've had to overcome with bringing those things together to present this to your audience?
So many. I mean, I won't bore you with the technical detail, and I probably wouldn't even get it right if I tried to. But, you know, yeah, I guess the technology is the one big thing that is a constant tool and you know, challenge.
Yeah.
So bringing in the right kind of people into the mix that know how to do that has been really important. I guess the rehearsals themselves, because we're working with community, we're working with a lot of people who already have love for the river and for the area. That's been another, I guess, really wonderful way to connect with those people, but also to sort of try and put structure around that and timetable that and make it, craft that into something that's going to be enjoyable for audiences to watch.
Yeah.
That's just an ongoing challenge with any kind of community theatre and community arts experiences. Although I have to say I'm really pleased with the results. We've got like an amazing group of people, and it's all really gelling.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the group includes, I think, 8 professional artists, or professional in inverted quotes, which were Vari McKenzie, who's running the entire thing. We've got Gemma, we've got me, Cassandra Tytler, Jacob Lira, Michelle Hall, and Georgie Ivers, and including some guests from Luca Rossetti McKenzie and Omri Voltalina, amongst about 12, 15 community members.
Wow, so there are a lot of moving parts there.
There are lots, yes. Yeah.
And I think just to answer the question fully as well, like the other challenge is to work in a site that has multiple owners.
Yes.
And in some areas we might be trespassing, in other areas we are working in contested sort of sites in many ways, and this idea that it's a public space but it's also not very visible to the world. And so one of the things that we believe is that if it was a little more visible, it may be better cared for.
Yeah.
But also in bringing more visibility will bring more problems.
Yeah.
You know, so it's these really complex, I guess, human and nature interactions that become really interesting conceptually, as well as, you know, there's plenty there to, like for Michael to riff on in terms of like the sound of the site is very rich. Visually it's very colourful because there's a very hot graffiti site there. Yeah, there's a beautiful natural environment. The river changes constantly every single time we go down there. In summer it's completely dry and you can just walk around in the riverbed, and then at this time of year it's you know, as you can imagine, after the rains we've just had, it's flooded, so we're all walking around in Wellington boots and, you know, yeah, so that's another, like the site itself has become just a beautiful challenge, I guess.
Yeah. There's a whole range of